Howdy folks, thanks for joining me today here at Cedar Creek Homestead as we do another garden update. If you like to follow along and see what we're doing in the garden, it's middle of June 2020 and things are really coming along. Now I wanted to say just a couple little things. If you're into gardening and you live further south than us, just an hour's drive south of here, the temperatures was warmer, and it's amazing how further south you go, how much more advanced the gardens are. And it's amazing how much further, if you go north here, just an hour's drive north of our area, how behind the gardens are. But everybody, I think, is coming along now. One of the viewers, I meant to go back and I couldn't find it, but one of you had commented that just last week y'all had gotten 7 inches of snow and that you thought it had killed out your tomatoes. And I'm like, man, that is something else. And so this weather we're getting and things can be very tricky trying to grow a garden. So today I'm out, and what I wanted to show you, I'll do a little video, just a little walk around here of the garden, but also wanted to show you how I water the tomatoes. I get more questions about these pipes that I have beside the tomatoes, so I'm going to take you along today and kind of show you what the garden looks like and how I water tomatoes, and also how I fertilize the tomatoes. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Well, I'll start off here with the tomatoes, and these are the coffee can tomatoes, the ones I started that are still in the coffee cans. They've just got the bottom off of them. The tomatoes are really growing, they're still blooming, and we've had a cool front come through, and so that's keeping our temperatures down right in the low 90s, and even been getting as low as 54 at night just 2 nights ago. So the tomatoes are really liking this temperature. And as you can see there, I had to come through here. I've been just about every day walking down through here trying to keep these in the cages, but they're really advancing and coming along. These were the coffee can, these first 6, and then these other tomatoes here are the just regularly planted tomatoes. I've showed, you've got a video on how I plant my tomatoes, but that's them coming along. And I'm having to water now. That's something last year I only had to water about twice last year. We had so much rain here. In fact, I think we had too much rain. But anyway, I'm having to water. Water is very important for tomatoes. If you want to have really good tomatoes, you need to water. And my recommendation is for at least 1 gallon a day. So if you were to get a ½ inch rain during the week, that will probably be enough, especially if you got 1 inch, but a ½ inch. But we haven't, and it looks like the next 2 weeks is going to be pretty dry. Now okra, as you can tell, it likes the drier weather, and it's coming along. But once it starts producing, if you'll water it, and I may water it now, but for sure when it starts producing, if you'll keep your okra watered at least once a week, water it real good, it will make all that you want for okra. Now, I don't worry about mine too long, because we'll usually have all we want to eat and in the freezer before we know it, and I'll get tired of cutting it, and I'll give it away, let people have it, but I'll eventually not want any anyway. And I'll let some pods go to seed, and that's how I get my seed for next year. Just let the pods stay on there till frost. But this okra has got little ones. This is crimson spineless. My stalks here on the crimson spineless don't ever get very tall, but they'll get taller than what this is, probably up about here, and they will continue to grow on up, but they're usually short. The crimson spineless that I plant, that I buy from our feed store, the variety they have, that's the way it is. I just want to show you the green beans, and just here in a few days we're going to be picking green beans. These things are loaded down with little ones. In fact, there's enough there. They're actually all right. We could eat them now if we was really hungry for green beans, but I want enough to can. But we don't like to let them get too big, the beans, or they get kind of stringy, and they kind of get a I don't know what you call that taste, but I just don't like it. So we'll have to be watching them, and probably by next weekend we'll need to pick the green beans. This is the black-eyed peas, and they're not blooming yet, but they're just fixing to. They've got some pods fixing to start blooming. And this is my other row of jade green beans. I've got 2 of them I've showed you before, and they are blooming. The plants aren't very big, but they're starting to put on some blooms. And the squash has really picked up. I watered and fertilized this one that I started in a can, and I took the old leaves that had turned, there's one leaf back in there that's turned brown, but I've been watching it for squash bugs. But anyway, it's got some more zucchini on it. And I noticed right down here is another yellow squash that's big enough to be picked. So last week I picked a zucchini squash that was big enough, and Josie fried it up. The only thing is, I'd like to have a half a dozen of those things. They are so good to eat. And me and her, we ate that squash right up. She can sure cook the squash good. Some of my turnips are, my turkeys have gathered up here. Some of the turnips are making pretty good sized bulbs down in there. And so I could be eating greens now. I haven't, but I plan to. But my son and wife and myself, we all 3 like the bulbs, the root part, fried, boiled, about any way you can cook it. Baked is good. And this is my cantaloupe or watermelon vine. I'm sorry I get them confused, but I got one of each. One has come up of each, and I think this is the watermelon vine here, I believe. And I know I should know the difference, but Josie eats these. I don't care for watermelon or cantaloupe. I did eat a little piece of watermelon the other day, and that'll probably do me for the year. But this little dude is blooming like crazy. It's really taking off and doing good. And anyway, stuff's looking good here in the garden. Here's the beets are coming along. My turkeys are happy. It's about time for them to go to roost. I'm out here in the evening. I worked today and come home, changed clothes, and got out here and working in the garden. I thought I'd do a quick video, and they have gathered around over there. And my trusty rooster, he's come checking things out. So anyway, the cucumbers are climbing up, and I have watered them once. I'll probably water them a little bit here tonight. I've got a soaker hose down through there, but they're really growing and coming on. They're enjoying this warm weather, and they're blooming, and should have little cukes to eat just here pretty quick. In fact, they was blooming last week, and I thought we'd have some. It seems like cucumbers is something you won't have any of, and then you'll have too many of. But here's a little baby cuke right there. So that won't take long. That little booger will come on. We'll have fresh cucumbers to eat. So once a week, I like to put some kind of fertilizer. And these tomatoes, last week I put a spoonful in the tomatoes and peppers before I watered of Dr. Earth's fertilizer. You can get that through Amazon, and so you might want to use someone's affiliate. If you have a favorite YouTube channel, you might want to do that. I just put 1 scoop in each pipe, and if I use that Dr. Earth's, I do the same thing. I put 1 of these. This is scoopers that come in I don't know what you call that size, but it comes in the Miracle Grow. And I might not water them every week with it, but right now I'm really trying to keep them advanced. Now these are little pepper plants here, but I fertilize them a little bit too. Peppers really do good here in our climate. I don't know what the deal is, but for some reason here in Oklahoma, peppers will really really grow well, especially in our neck of the woods. And those pipes are kind of small. I like these bigger pipes I have here because you can take a scoop of this stuff and put in your pipe. And it's kind of hard to do this and hold the camera. This stuff always reminds me of blueberry Kool-Aid. But anyway, I'll go down through here and I'll put a scoop in every one of these pipes, and then I'm going to come along and fill them up with water. And so this takes quite a bit of this stuff, but like I say, you don't have to do it every week, but every week you want to water your tomatoes. I just fill these pipes up. You know, I got all different sizes. People's asked how much and all that. I just fill the pipe up if it'll fill up. Some of these pipes will the water goes out as quick as you're putting it in, and that's fine. Just kind of time yourself a little bit, pace yourself, and when you get it full, then you're done. And if it won't fill, just time about what you think, because you'll be doing enough of these that you'll realize what it is. But I've got several more bags of this stuff, and I'm going to open them up and put them in the container. It's got a plastic container. Then I can dip them out real easy instead of trying to dip out of this crazy bag here. But this bag Josie had already used some out of, so I was just finishing it off, and that's why I come. And I don't worry if that's all you got in one this time. It's not gonna starve without food. And you may do it a different way. I'll tell you one thing I used to do when I had rabbits. I'd fill these pipes full of rabbit manure, or put a couple of coffee cans full in there, and then water them, and that'll really make your tomatoes grow and do good also. Anyway, I get all these pipes filled up, or put a scooper, a Miracle Grow, or last week I used a scooper in each one of that Dr. Earth's. That does really well also. And when you put the water in, the nutrients are going right down to the roots, and really seems to help them. So doing this the way I do with this Miracle Grow, it takes a whole container of that just about. This container's plastic, so I put it in there, and then you take that little scooper. I use the big scooper. And like I say, you don't have to do it every week, but they do need water every week. Right now, I will for a few weeks probably do it every week, but also will trade off. Sometimes I put Dr. Earth's. You can also put like a 10, 20, 10, something like that. Whatever, you know, look at some of these folks and see what they're doing, but something higher. You don't want a real high nitrogen. And that first number, when you look at fertilizer, is nitrogen. If you look at 1313, is the first number is your nitrogen, and then your potassium and your NPK. Oh, I have forgotten the other one, but you want more of the middle one. And so for tomatoes. And so anyway, oh my, it starts with the P too. Phosphorus. So nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus levels. And so the middle number, if it's higher, that's probably good. The first number, if it was low, like 4, I'm just making up numbers, 4, 8, 4, or 10, 20, 10, something like that, would probably be all right. But you don't want super nitrogen. The reason is your tomatoes will just grow so quick. And this Miracle Grow, what they'll do is they'll grow more vines than they do anything else. They'll grow quick and they look good, but they'll grow vines, and you want tomatoes. And this plant food, but also Dr. Earth's got some stuff you can order called Dr. Earth's, and it has blooming stuff. So that'll help your tomatoes to bloom and really get going. Also, you can put some Epsom salt. I put a scoop of the same size scoop that comes in here of Epsom salt in each pipe one time. I don't usually do it more than once. I may here 1st of July, when they start really producing tomatoes, I may do it one more time, but I don't do that every week. To water my tomatoes, I use this thing here. It's getting old, but it works. And as you can see, the water will come out like that. And I just take it, put it in the pipe, And as I'm going along here, I don't shut it off in between every one because it just takes too much time. You're not wasting that much water to worry about. But I'll go down through here and fill each pipe up. And there you go. And I'll go down through here and do each one of these. I fill up the pipes with water once a week. And you can take just a regular water hose. I just like this because you can kind of reach in there with this bent. It's even bent more. Something's happened to it. I've had it for several years. I'm going to have to get me a new one. It's starting to get wore down pretty good, and it leaks just a little, but that don't hurt nothing. When it's hot, getting a little air is good. But I mean, not air, but a little water on you. But anyway, I'll go down through here. It's starting to get late here, get dark, so I'm not going to show filling all the pipes up with water. But that's how I water my tomatoes in the summertime, and filling them up once a week. They seem to do fine. But just because it works for me doesn't mean it's necessarily for you. Try different things. I did have drip irrigation. The problem is setting up the drip irrigation. Then I'd have to leave it on for an hour or two, and sometimes I forgot to come out and turn them off. The drippers will have like 1 gallon per hour or 2 gallon per hour, and some of mine had 1 gallon emitters, some had 2 gallon, and then I'd forget to turn them off, and the next morning, of course, they were watered plenty good, but I'd end up with a $150 water bill. And you know, the whole thing is we want to be economical about it too, besides raising our own food. So I've got a well out here, and I'm going to get a pump for it, and I wouldn't be quite so worried about the water if that happened. But anyway, it's starting to get late here at the homestead. You probably ain't going to be able to see me watering these, so I just tell you that's how I do it. I'll go down through here. It does take a little while, so one evening when the sun starts going down like it is right now, it's cooling off. If the mosquitoes don't carry me away, they don't seem to be bothering us today, but that last Friday, they about ate me alive out here. And but today, that for some reason, maybe this cooler weather has slowed them down because it's not bad out here tonight. It's still warm. It's probably 80 degrees, but it's lower humidity and things are nice out here. And if you have any questions about how I water or fertilize, just ask them there, and I'll try to answer if I can. Well, thank you for watching today. We sure appreciate you joining us for today's video. I just want to say, if you're not a subscriber, if you'd like to help us out, hit that subscribe button. Once you have subscribed, there'll be a little bell icon. If you'll hit that bell, then you'll be notified when we upload other videos. And if you have a comment, let us know how your garden's doing. I love reading the comments. And some of you up north, the other day was just getting to start planting. Have you been able to plant? Are you still, as stuff kind of coming along? You'll be amazed. It's coming. Time's coming where our gardens are hitting it. Now mine's hitting in high gear. I didn't think it's ever going to. And so just hold on there, and it'll be there with God's help and grace. Why, we'll all have wonderful gardens this year. I'm looking for a bumper crop here. My tomatoes are just still pretty short, but they're loaded with tomatoes. But I'm looking for them to get up above these baskets like they usually do, and they will. It just takes a little time. Hey, thanks for watching. God bless you, and we'll see you next time here at Cedar Creek Homestead. We're gone.